Mercy sees all.
What was in there? So, we got rid of another box. There we go. Plants on the ground. Broken live stream back. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Nope. That's not it, I guess. Want to be able to move that. I guess I'm wrong.
Yes, the blooper reel. I'm gonna have to get more of those. They make me laugh pretty much, actually. I'm probably the only one laughing at them. Welcome, everyone. Hi, my name is Bruce Swartz. Large objects just under Copernicus crater. Can't specify it enough. I am really upset that the videos are remaining at 2,000 or 3,000 views, which is just clearly ridiculous. Seems to me it should be reaching tens of thousands of views. Not being vain in any way, but I think that the proof that the telescope and my research is showing, it should be getting out to a couple of more platforms and more people. But for whatever the reason, and I'm probably not the only channel, I remain shadow banned. So it's important that, and you guys have nothing to do different, you're sharing the videos. It's thanks to you if I get any views at all. The community is what makes the channel. But look at this object. Looks like a massive, almost cylindrical object standing up inside of some and surrounded by some type of wall or boundaries. And we see that very often in many areas of the moon. Now watch this. We're at the bottom of Copernicus. That tunnel-like object there, but look in a circle. The black. It's not a shadow, my friends. There are dark structures on the surface. The dark and the bright together is the camouflage of that area and the surface. The craters are being camouflaged. That's just my belief, but I really believe it. Now watch where this leads off to. You can see that there's covering of some type hiding the rest of the way as it leads off straight up to which crater? Copernicus crater. They are real objects on the surface that are not being seen. And again, that white glare and that dark yet bright object. You see what I mean by dark yet bright? There, and we're going to see a couple of those structures, and of course, look at that. The smokes, hazes, UFOs on the surface. Whether we're looking at storms that have to be pretty big, it's the entire surface that has that haze over it. And in and around the craters, we see objects floating around near the surface. They have shadows on the surface. Proof is there. The evidence is there gathered. Now here's an example of some of those dark areas or structures. There's a line going at the end of this arrow there, almost nearly invisible to see, yet these structures or whatever they are, they're blinding the surface, like many of us are calling them covers, which obviously they'd be the size of towns, right? But we could see some 90-degree angle and symmetrical features. The lights that I'm capturing on the surface is another reason for more people to, jump to the occasion of viewing the research. They are really up there, and we're going to see later on. Also, there's a light system on the surface. There are lights going on simultaneously, miles and miles apart. Like you just saw there, 3 lights together. Let's see it here in a different way with a green filter, night vision filter. It's not night vision camera, just a night vision filter, simple green. And watch what appears. So now those white objects will be now dark black, and we'll see them a lot better, and that's all I'm doing. Watch the 3 of them appear at the same time. There we go. All 3 of them there, and you can actually see the haze moving over. Copernicus crater right here. A light coming out of the edge of Copernicus crater. We can see it right there. Unless you slow down the footage, it's not going to be seen. But the surface has a lot of that activity on it. Still under Copernicus, we see a line going to some type of structure that we have no idea what it may be, but it sure looks constructed. Under the hazes, we see different types of UFOs, some even leaving some type of gas and color from it. So there's so much that we could study from it. I say it's the closest archaeological site off of Earth, and filled with all the secrets and probably everything we need to know about the past. This is live footage, extra slow, just again underneath Copernicus crater. Look at the lines. Christian Massé, mon ami, c'est les lignes dont que tu parlais. We're seeing 90-degree angles, lines going over each other. At times we can see them in X formation, as my friend Christian Massé was mentioning, from France, a blogger about UFOs, ufology, and outer space. A very interesting person that I'm getting the chance to meet, and thanks to Silvano Trotta YouTube channel giving me a big hand to get out to Europe. Really happy. So there are structures on the surface of the moon that nobody's showing. It's pretty exclusive. There's a light source beside it. This is actually amazing to be able to see the surface this way and the large objects. Something very interesting that in my research I had the chance to witness were UFOs arriving, and several times, arriving to the surface. First, a beautiful light lighting up all the atmosphere and showing us all the atmosphere in and around the east side of the moon, and seeing an object land which, don't forget, I've showed it before, seems it was actually launched from the surface. I'm going to show you two of them, so it's not just one, and they are arriving one after the other on the surface. But first, take a look at this. Before that light that I showed you just moments before landing on the surface, whatever it may be, this happened, this occurred. And then you can see to the right that light, which is now going into the trial of the scene that I just showed you. But whoops, what's this? A second light. There are more than one lights, and at many different occasions UFOs arriving on the surface of the moon. They are rare occasions to be found, and they're rarely shown, yet my research is not getting out to anyone, so I appreciate those who really help with the shares. Atmosphere, clouds and hazes that we see along straight lines, hiding secrets on the surface of the moon. Colors, lights, hazes, clouds, dusts on the surface of the moon, being held back from the world, knowing this raw truth. It's been hundreds of years it's been held back, and it's not about to cease. Disclosure will be shown by the public. Is that a square crater? And once again, why not some live footage? Let's get into really close, and I'll have another video up for you guys tonight. Dark structures or constructed boundaries that we see on the surface. I mean, it's a literal shape. sitting there, or it's a very straight symmetrical outline where you can see some very straight ridges or edges just shooting it out there. But again, you see it. Many of these could be obviously natural, but some of them do look like bridges, connections, but they're high off the surface, and that's what's intriguing me the most. Here is another area where I show a dark structure. You see a straight outline on the surface that's very symmetrical, and the 90-degree edge just at the bottom there, covered up with some things. Again, dark structures on the surface that if they were shadows, they're not following any of the ridges or lines, so I don't understand how they can be shadows. For whatever the reason you'd like to send me something, here is my mailing address.
This is Houston. Say again, please.